music for about since 2017. Is that right?
Early 18.
18. Okay. Did you always do music?
Kind of, yeah. It's like a family thing. Like my mom does choir with my uncle.
Last year, Lizette told me about an idea that she had for her own music project, and she asked if I would help her with it. She was telling me that it was sort of she had an idea of electronic style music, and I said, well, it's been a long time since I've done that, because I used to do that many years ago in high school. That was what I first started with, was synthesizers and drum machines and all that. My best friend at the time had that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So after school, we'd go and we'd figure out all these sounds and just would try to recreate sounds we'd heard on records and things like that, and we'd spend all day doing that, you know. Yeah. So I said, you know what, I'd like to get my hand back in that.
Well, how were you in another band before?
Yeah. And even before that, I started just with the snare drum in junior high.
Okay.
I played in band.
That's awesome.
It really started with the drums, and then from there, I started taking lessons over at Henson's Music in Oxnard for playing the bass. Then from there, and I figured the bass was easier because it had 4 strings.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, that should be the easier one.
I tried guitar before, and I felt like my fingers weren't long enough. So I don't know. Maybe bass would have been the way to go for me too. Yeah. First time I heard you guys was last year at the Sun Nudes art show, which was amazing, and you guys did amazing. But after kind of trying to get to know you guys as far as your music career a little bit, I've seen that you've played at the Golden China, the Red Cove. You guys have the Ventura Theater more recently, which is awesome. You performed at the Lab, the Oxnard Performing Arts Center. Like, where do you guys plan on performing next, or how do you even get these gigs? For anyone that's trying to be an aspiring musician, maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you guys get
it has to do with like networking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it just kind of depends, because half of the shows, it's from my networks, and then the other half is through his networks.
That's good. Perfect balance and teamwork then.
Yeah. I tell him that since we're like in this together, like I want it to be equal, you know, like
that's great.
You know, whatever he can bring to the table, I'll bring to the table, and then we'll just like, you know, divide the work and do that back.
And it is a lot of work. Like, I can only imagine trying to balance personal life with also practice, and when do you turn off practice and it's just you time kind of thing, because that's a very interesting dynamic as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Our schedules work so that, like, since I work the night shift, I'm a total night owl. Like I said, right now I'm running on just pure caffeine.
Okay.
But the
That's
weekends,
your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah, so that always leaves my mornings free for working on music, and then the weekends for working on music as well, for recording and whatnot.
So are you both equally responsible for the writing of the music, or how does that
work? I think he has a little bit more input in it, since he's more like musically trained.
Okay.
All my music is done by ear. Like, I've never taken like a professional class.
That's awesome.
So all my like learning is by ear, and you can go very wrong on it. Like, sometimes, like when we're recording, he would play like a song, and then I'd be like, okay, I think this is the key, right? And then like later he'd be like, oh no, this is the key, and I'll be like, oh okay, like I didn't know.
But at the same time, I feel like it kind of gives you a chance to be a little bit more creative when you're not trained, because I see that in different artists and musicians that I've gotten to know along the way. I think it's awesome if you can stick with a training or a class. I'm not a person that could do that. Like, I don't have the structure for it. I'm very structured in a lot of ways, but when it came to like learning something, I'm not, you know? So I can just imagine where your mind is led when you have it in you in a creative sense, and then when you're classically trained as well. So the mix is probably really, really interesting, and very like you said, it's missing the puzzle that was missing to your the piece that was missing to your puzzle. He's got it, and vice versa. So that kind of works out.
And I think is really, really significant is that with Lizette, her approach to music is more instinctive. It's more like when we're sitting at the keyboard and I've got the synthesizer here and I'm coming up with sounds or some chord progressions, she'll describe it, what she's hearing in her head. She's like, I think the song should ascend here, have this feeling of ascension or sort of a dreaminess to it. So I'll go, okay, how about these chords? And she's like, not quite. And then okay, let me try this key. Okay, that one sounds really good. now from there, I think if the song now should feel like more lower or more
so
of a
it's
down
really
feeling.
coming from the heart, like it's really
Yeah,
coming
so
from the feeling.
I'm kind of translating what she's describing, and that's sort of where her experience as a visual artist comes in.
That makes you both very, very like imaginative,
Yeah,
you know, because she's telling the story, yet you're creating it.
And she's kind of describing almost textures as if she were painting.
Like,
she's using her.
Before I had music as a creative outlet, I painted or drew, and most of my process for drawing, it's very like that. Like I don't know what it is, so I'll just start out and I'll just go with the feeling of it. And then whatever mistakes kind of happen, I kind of just work with it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That was leading into another question that I find very interesting is what other passions you guys have, or what other, because that also plays a huge factor. Being a creative, sometimes your mind wants to do this, sometimes you want to do that, sometimes, you know, trying to put it all into one is difficult. So I always find it interesting what else you guys find passion in.
I do music right now is like my priority, and I think it's always been. It's just I've never really expressed it that way. Because you know, like when you really feel passionate about something, you kind of feel like, oh, if I put it out there, like I'm gonna kind of get, you know, put down, and you don't want to be in that situation. But after I did that, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do more of this stuff. So I do art. I like to. What else do I like to do?
You dye your hair off?
Oh yes, I like to do hair.
You do it yourself?
Yeah.
That's style. Yeah, it is personal style. That's awesome.
I love animals, so that's.
I could tell. So we've been interrupted like 20 million times by the lab dogs here, but that's okay because we're just gonna go with the flow and keep it going. But she does love animals, and they seem to love her because they keep going towards you.
I pretend I'm like an animal whisperer.
I love that though. I've had puppies when I was little, but ever since we got our little ones 4 years ago is when we got Gus. I don't know, my heart just opened up in a different way. He's literally my child, and now I have like such a newfound love for every living creature, like ants, spiders I used to be terrified of, but that's another story. But anyway, but going back to the question, what about you? Do you have any other outlets or creative things that you like to do?
Let's see, other hobbies or things like that. I really, music's at the forefront.
Okay.
That's like always my main focus. I enjoy films and movies, you know, things like that.
Have you ever considered writing music for movies, like cinematically?
You know what? I have some recordings that I've done, and I've kind of had it in my mind, like, okay, I'm going to write a conceptual album for a sci-fi film, and it's going to sound this way, like very Blade Runner or something like that.
That's cool.
And so
so you're inspired by it often. Yeah, that's cool.
And hopefully there's some, you know, independent filmmaker out there maybe looking for some music like that.
Put your stuff out there. I mean, Craigslist is just one little email away.
Oh, yeah,
just
definitely.
like, I'm always looking in the creative section. I don't know what for, but I'm just looking from other musicians as well that use synthesizers. That's a common thing you guys have in common. Wanting to be a little bit more cinematic, and I feel like it has a lot to do with the instrument itself. Like the sound of it, it's very cinematic to me.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I played a lot of RPGs on the Super Nintendo, and those had some really epic soundtracks. Okay. And those pieces have stuck with me for a long time, and I think that's been very influential in my writing or my approach. Some of those chords come out, and I go, oh, that sounds like something that I was like from like a video game or something.
I know that you guys just started your band last year. Have you guys done any collabs, or are there any collabs that you would like to do in the future or in talks with that you can speak on? Well, I don't want to blow the cover, but...
Well, we have been talking about like a mix for our single.
Oh, okay.
Because we are kind of like fans of like all the genres.
Okay, wait a minute, back up a little bit. We totally did not even talk about their single yet. That's also another huge thing on your plate. Your single's dropping like on the 22nd, right? So that is 1 week away pretty much?
6 days now.
Is that so exciting or nerve-wracking? How do you guys feel about that? That supersedes anything we're talking about. Let's talk about that and then we'll get back to anything else. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, we've been working on it since I think we started the band. That was probably like one of the first songs that we did. And then as we started doing other songs, we kind of other songs first and others like in the back.
Okay.
And this song has just stuck all the way. And then we kind of like finally finished it, and then we're like, no, this is gonna be the single, because I feel like it really, once you hear it and you see us visually, I feel like it really describes us.
That's awesome. I'm excited to hear that, and especially after getting to know kind of what it means to you guys and how it stayed with you as, no, this, you keep coming back to, this is going to be the single, this is going to be the single. That's awesome.
When we first started writing this song, I think it was the very first song we worked on together. It's just immediate from the 3 chords that I wrote for that intro. It was just, there was just magic in those chords. I don't know what it was, but no matter what instrument you played it on, even if stripped down on an acoustic guitar, it's like, this song is really special. And then the way Lizette would vocalize over it, it's just evolved from there. And we've written other songs that we've kind of put on the back burner a bit, but this one has always been like,
I have seen massive growth from you guys in a short period of time, and I think there's endless opportunities, and with all the aspects that you're including, I think it's really cool. I think you guys are you're on the right track and you're doing cool things, so that's awesome.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Has there been a show that has been like your scariest to perform, like you were the most nervous, or I feel like the Ventura Theater might be that one, just because it's the Ventura Theater. When you say it, it just sounds crazy, you know, like that big people have performed on that stage. So that's awesome. So did I answer that question for you already? But tell me from your perspective, like, how did it feel? Like,
yeah, definitely our biggest show.
Okay.
Yeah. It was an honor to play it. It was for the Notes for Notes Foundation.
For good cause.
Yeah, for good cause, for music programs for the kids here in Ventura County. I wasn't really nervous playing that gig.
Really?
He's played before at that place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had a practice run before.
I had a practice run before in my old band.
Okay, very cool.
Mm-hmm. And wasn't too nervous for that one because it just ran so smooth. Our mixing engineer was great. The bands, the set times, it was all on point. So it was just smooth sail for that one. As far as nerve-wracking, I think it might have been this one that we played here.
Okay.
At Sandwich.
Really?
Only because when we got here, I realized I left my, if you could believe it, I left my electric guitar.
Oh, I've heard crazy stories. So
the guitarist showed up without a guitar.
Oh my god.
And
dude, I remember hearing that night, I think.
Yeah. And thank goodness to the other band that played the night.
Los Retros.
Los Retros.
I think his name
Shout out.
Thank you, man.
And by the way, to Hector and Melissa who put on that show.
Yes.
That was an awesome show.
Thanks to them.
So
We're really
shout
happy
out to
with
them.
Yeah, he let me use his guitar, and so that worked out.
I think they let also like a chord. I think one of the chords for the amp wasn't working.
Yeah, that too. It was
Look, you guys made it happen, and you guys are memorable from that for other reasons. You know, so maybe you guys knew that, but I didn't know much. You know, and I don't think anyone else that wasn't helping with the event knew. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's what's most interesting, because a lot of people don't realize like events or bands or whatever the case, there's a lot behind the scenes that goes on. The tears, blood, sweat, all that stuff. You know. Yeah. What about you? What about the most nerve-wracking?
Well, for the Ventura Theater, and just because I was sick like a month before that, and my cold hadn't gone away, so I was still sick, and like it was really bad that like I would cough and then I would lose my breath and I'd do like that kind of thing, and then like I would kind of like want to gag afterwards.
That's hard,
it was really bad, and so like I was freaking out.
That cold feeling too, like where you're like, and it's deep in your chest.
Yeah, like you know, kind of like so I was going through that, and then we didn't go on till maybe like 10:30. So we were there from 7, and then like by the time it was like 10, I felt so tired. Like I was just like ready to like take a nap, and then I was coughing, and I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, just like, you know, don't cough on stage or don't cough into the mic or something.
Well, you look beautiful. No one could tell. I'm sure. You guys did great. I want to jump back really quickly, and I did want to touch on, I know we kind of brought up the creative side and how there's the behind the scenes, the blood, sweat, the tears, and all that. Mental health, again, touching on that, is there a touch of that in your creativity? Like, for example, I know a lot of people write music for what they're feeling and what's going on in their life, and that's what's moving to a lot of people. But has it been a therapy for you guys in any way? And I'm only curious because, like I said, I'm one of those people that I use my creative outlets as a therapy. I have to, or I'd go crazy, you know? So I'm just interested in that.
Definitely. I think songwriting and music is, it's so healing just internally for the soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like when you write a song and that feeling comes when you hear it on your headphones and you hear this, what's in your mind just been laid down. You just created it and made it happen. It's the best feeling. It really is. And even when there's themes of, sadness or whatever the theme is, happiness or you're angry, whatever you're singing about or writing about, I think from my end, as I write songs, there may be themes that go that direction, but there's never a sense of true hopelessness. There's always a sense of hope in the songwriting. So that's what I would hope to get across to our listeners as they hear our lyrics.
Yeah.
That there's never.
It's gonna get better.
It's gonna get better.
See, that's a really strong message.
Yeah, you can write about those themes, and it's good to relate to those themes, and it's good to get those feelings out, because we've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with our songs, we want to get that across. That there's always
that's really
a sense of hope from the bottom, because life is really moves. It's organic and it's up and down, up and down.
All the time.
So there's always a sense of hope. Always.
Because you're right. I don't think that there's a lot of songs that, like, there's always happy endings in movies. There's usually, but in songs, it usually leaves you with that feeling, like if it's a sad song, it usually leaves you kind of feeling sad. But the fact that you're kind of trying to put the evolution of the sadness and take you on a journey goes back to how I think it's so cool about. You should really get into cinematic stuff, because that you're taking people on a journey and their feelings are going up and down with whatever you guys are playing or writing, and I think that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think once our first single comes out, you will really see that.
I'm excited.
You will really see the whole starting of the song, and then kind of like a descending, and then up, and then the climax, and then all that stuff on it.
It's a story.
It's a
beautiful.
Story, yeah. And like he said, it's a very kind of our message right now with this EP. It's about hope. I don't know if a lot of people would say that our songs are kind of dark, but
I like that.
but I like that because they say you can't have dark without the light, and the light without the dark, and I think that goes in hand, and that a lot of people, like he said, a lot of people forget that it's kind of like a balance.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot
that
of
is
that.
So true. I felt like I was going on a journey right now, understanding it, because no one's ever put it to me like that before, and I feel like it's really cool to hear people's perspectives. It actually blows my mind hearing different people's perspectives, because I feel like even after today, we're literally having this conversation together, but we're each gonna leave with a different perspective of what just happened, and I think that is so cool, and it trips me out. I guess I have to wrap it up, unfortunately. But I did want to just, again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. It's obviously starting out and growing, but I appreciate you guys being here.